Basically, it's if you've played the old school games like Dungeon Keeper and Theme Hospital, uh, that era of management gaming kind of disappeared, and we want to bring it back. That's basically
it's a great goal.
Yeah, that's basically the idea about creating this game was. So in this game, you basically take control of a prince of a dwarven clan, and it's your quest to basically restore your honor. You're a very lazy prince, so your father, the king, he threw you out. So until you restore your honor and reclaim the old homeland, you're basically a castaway. Although he'll show up quite often and taunt you and give you some tips maybe, but until you really need to get working on the whole warrior campaign thing to show that you're a true dwarf. And as a player, you need to keep him safe, because if he dies, it's game over. Well, you can load a save, of course. And you have different kind of dwarves working under you. Like this here's a crafter, and this here's a military guy, and there's a digger, and we also have a worker over here. And they do, it's pretty self-explanatory what they do. The diggers dig, crafters craft, military fight, and he will tend to your fields and make sure you have food. This is a very, very simple tutorial level. The player starts with a lot of dwarves, and you have access to fertile soil right off the bat, so you don't have to search for this. This is really important for a new settlement, since this will allow you to plant crops, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to plant some apple trees down here. Really easy like that. And once they've finished eating, they'll head over here. One of my workers will head over here and tend to my apple trees, and he'll pluck the apples once they've grown and stuff like that. And that will increase how much food I have. And I also already have some military guys, so now I'm kind of safe. I have food, I have a bed, I have some defensive units. And so after this, I could start taking a look at what I want to do next. How do I want to tackle this level? Since right now we're playing the campaign, which means we have a very goal-oriented task list beforehand. So we got like quest lines, and we basically know what we want to do. We also have a custom game where the player gets to play very much more sandbox. He gets to set the parameters for the world generation, like do I want enemies, what resources do I want, all of those stuffs, and then you guys get to play around and build stuff for fun. The king quests are side quests. So each level has several king quests. So for this one I need to build some traps, I need to specialize a military dwarf, and I need to do some research basically. The king quests allow you to, when you complete levels, if you have completed the king quests, you will gain influence points, and those will affect your prince. The prince is quite useless in the beginning. He has a wooden sword, he can only sleep and eat, he'll run from enemies, but as you progress through the campaign, you will be able to give him influence points, which will make him either a badass warrior or a very researcher kind of dude, so he'll help with the researching, or a productive dude that will increase your productiveness. So you'll get more dwarves, you'll get cheaper stuff and more resources, stuff like that. So, and that's all because of the king quests. But for now, he's useless. So go and sleep on your throne. Then I will start to look at what I have. What quests do I have then? I have to build 2 beds. I have to collect 150 food, and I have to build 20 decorations. To do this, I intend to make this into a living room. So I'm gonna, and that's just how I always like to build a sleeping room in this area. That's how I always like to do it in this level, because this building these floors and these walls always account to 20 decorations, so I complete the quest when I do that, which makes me happy, because then I don't need to have like an odd object somewhere. And this is also part of the game, like how you tackle quests are basically up to you. When I watch my friends do this, my co-workers, they do this quest entirely differently. They build something else somewhere else, and a lot of the building mechanics are very, very. I don't need to build this nicely like this. I could build very sporadic and just mark them wherever I want to. But since that would look heinous, and I'm kind of a perfectionist in these things sometimes, so it would be really frustrating for me to have like an odd floor tile over here and another one here. So for me, I need to build it like perfect squares. I need to have structure. But it's up to the players. Building nice stuff like this will increase happiness, and happiness will allow my dwarves to. It increases their work rate, the experience rate, the good rating and experience. So it's very good to have a high happiness, but it isn't mandatory. So it's kind of hard to grasp for new players. So you won't punish them too much. But once a player masters the system and learn to build nice stuff, we will reward them for it. And as you can see quite quickly, this little room here is becoming a very nice little sleeping area. If you compare it to the rest of the place, that's chaotic and almost ruined. So if I were playing this for real, I would most likely start having some other kind of floor out here, and go and just take it from here and start by making my starting area really look nice, because I need it to look nice, or else I'll get frustrated. No, coming. Yeah, someone's coming. And then of course we have the digging mechanic, the most basic of all our mechanics. You mark blocks just like in the old school kind of dungeon keeper game. It's very don't fix what ain't broken kind of thing. And since Sten here is a very low level guy, he'll dig quite slow, but as he digs he'll gain experience and he'll become better at digging. So when he's like level 10, he'll make short work of these. Oh, gold, that's nice. Yeah, he'll make short work of these dirt tiles. And that's the, of course then, since the game is randomly generated, we only get the start area. It's almost the same every time. The resources will be different and stuff like that. But the rest of the level is randomly generated, except for a few rooms, like the boss room. We need this to be at the bottom and not next to the starting area. So a lot of it is randomly generated, and the next time you play the level, it's going to look different. It's going to feel different, at least. So you can't find one perfect way to play each level. So sometimes you might not find enough resources to build the things you need. Then you need to adapt to that. So it's very much the amount of the random generation will heavily influence the way you tackle the level. These are underground rooms that are hidden. So if I were to do like this, I'll find something over here later. You can turn these off if you want to, if you want the exploration to be more, exploration part more.
Totally surprise.
Yeah, exactly, totally surprise. I still don't know what's gonna be in here, so it might be treasures or it might be enemies. So there's still a hint of exploration, and some of the levels where you need to find special rooms, that get really hard if you can't get a hint into where they are. So you can turn it off. Hardcore players should and probably will, but we're not going to force players to spend hours just digging for stuff. And then I'll have a dwarf up here in seconds, and he'll start building a small room above my normal chamber, which is going to look kind of weird, but it's nice. It takes some time getting used to seeing the floors.
Yes.
But yeah, I just completed my quest. Nice. Of course, the deeper down you dig, the better the resources will be and the more plentiful they'll be. But the enemies will also get harder and more dangerous the deeper.
So you can find tunnels and rooms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the enemies, they are not just spawning from
nowhere. No, exactly. Yeah. You discover like monster lairs underneath the ground, and they can contain. In the beginning, they'll contain like critters, mostly like some moles or some spiders. But the later you progress, the more evil and heinous the monster will become. So it'll start up being like the more Tolkien-esque monsters, like the goblins and the orcs. And then we get some monsters, and then we get undeads and stuff like that. So.
And of course, when we are talking about Dungeon Keeper, there are of course the traps and things.
Absolutely. So you can build. I haven't researched them yet. I'll cheat for a second. So quite a lot of texture here. And once I've reached the engineering tech, I'll unlock a whole bunch of traps here. And these are the basic traps. There are more to be found when I go deeper into the tech tree, I'll find even better traps. And I'll start by. Oh no, I don't have iron. That's a shame. But I'm quite sure I have iron here. Yeah. So basically, there's a lot of traps to build, and as you research, you get more of them and even better traps. So yeah, traps are awesome. And traps are also an alternative for players that don't want to have many military dwarves. Then you can defend yourself with traps instead, and lure your enemies to certain areas where there's lots of traps, and have them die that way.